What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Dual Sense podcast. This is episode 55. I'm one of your co hosts, Jason, and I'm joined, as always, by your other co host, Mr. Bezos, also known as Travis. Travis, what's going on today?
Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. All those other amateurs can fucking suck it. Jeffrey Bezos. Shout out to Bo Burnham.
Oh, is that? I was going to say, is that a rapper, or but it's Mr. Burnham?
No, it's technically he's rapping.
True. That's true. What else is good? Anything?
Yeah, well, we had to delay the start of the podcast because I was at the General Patton Museum party today.
That's a thing.
Yeah, they had Patton Week, and today they had the old army barracks open from the Second World War and a bunch of jeeps, and the museum was free, and they were supposed to have food trucks, but then only one of them showed up, so that's par for the course with a food truck.
It really is.
So anyway, yeah, it was cool. They had a silent auction, bunch of wild shit. Like you could win like a trip to the Kennedy Space Center and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, there was somebody who bid $500 on a cheese tasting, and I was like,
"What?
You've got a fucking problem, guys."
I thought you were going to tell me they were going to have like a decommissioned like M1 Garand or something that you could win.
They had some random shit. They had like stuff from the Knob Creek gun range. You can get a whole year, whatever you call it, membership. So you can just go shoot your American guns as much as you want.
Oh, hell yeah.
They had some sort of barbecue setup thing. I got 2 cups that were free, so that's what I won.
Nice. Well, Travis, for the uninitiated or the noobs, we are a PlayStation podcast where you and I get together each and every week to discuss all of the news, rumors, new game releases, and a little bit more in the world of PlayStation. And we post new episodes every Monday on all of the podcast services around the globe, as well as YouTube, if you prefer to watch there. And we also post game streams and clips there occasionally as well. I streamed a little bit the other night, which we're going to talk about in a second, the game. And then finally, if you want to engage with us, you can find us on Twitter at the DualSense Pod, and we would love to hear from you and just talk and maybe hear about the show or just talk games or nonsense. It's all good. So, Travis, without further ado, talk to me about what you've been playing this week.
Played a little FIFA and Chivalry. Nothing crazy to report there. My 6'7" striker is just he is a monster on corners. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, you can just, if you loop him in, like tap it and loop him in really high, nobody can out jump him, and he almost always gets contact on the ball. It just doesn't go. He's like he's a 60, so like makes contact and it just goes wherever. Very rarely on target.
That's okay. He'll get there.
On Chivalry, I unlocked the heavy mace.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy the heavy mace. You can just swing that motherfucker, and whoever's in the way, I mean, you're getting points. I mean, they're dead if especially if they don't block. If they don't block, you're gonna get like 80 points. Especially those little bonuses it has on like footmen and knights. Like you're gonna fuck somebody up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then of course we posted the video onto our YouTube of me gaming and falling asleep. Just classic micro sleeps. So yeah, if you watch it and don't know that I'm falling asleep, a couple of the videos, it's like a micro sleep. You almost can't tell. But there's a couple of points in it where I'm just like watching birds, so you can, that's pretty obvious, and I'm out of my mind at that point.
My favorite one was when you fell asleep and you're like running into the wall, and then I think you can faintly hear you like take a breath, like when you wake up. And then some guy on our own team runs past you, so you immediately start firing arrows into his back, and you're like, "Oh, my bad," because you thought it was a bad guy. You had no idea.
Right? It's like when you wake up. You know how it is when you wake up and like English doesn't make sense and colors aren't real. It's like that's what happened. I woke up and saw something move, and I was like, "Die!" My favorite was when I'm on top of that top of the castle, and I fall asleep looking at these birds, and I'm like spinning in a circle. And then I wake up and just start changing my class. I don't know why I did that. I was just like, need to change my class.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, that's about all I got into. I did download Dirt Rally 2.0 again, so I might fool around with that a little bit.
I watched this is unrelated to what I've been playing, but I watched a a little bit of gameplay for F1 2021 before we started recording. It looks kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you watch the Breaking Point, the career mode trailer?
I didn't watch the trailer for that, but I watched the gameplay that I watched was from the first career race.
Chapter?
Yeah, the very first race that you do, I guess.
Mhm.
So it looked cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of it was over my head in terms of all the technical stuff, but I don't know. We'll see. That strikes me as something I'll get when it's on sale one
Mhm.
day. So, and it's EA, so it'll be on sale pretty soon. But anyway, as far as what I've been playing, I also played Chivalry 2 with you. I unlocked the Great Sword this week, or the Great Sword on the Vanguard class. But for some reason, I still can't use the pre-order weapon skin for that. I don't know why, but apparently it's been a problem for a lot of people. But unlocked that and immediately was just doing work. Like,
Mhm.
got a double kill with one swing because it's just so long. It's so big. You just, which you could say that about some other things too, huh? But
Mhm.
just killed a couple guys immediately. I love the great sword. It's a lot of fun. But like you've said before, the executioner's axe really does a lot of work too. So all of those are very fun to use. And then also played a little bit more A Plague Tale Innocence. Well, I guess I actually haven't talked about that since last week, but that was the PS5 PlayStation Plus game that came out on Tuesday. So I've played that. I've played the first 3 chapters, and I believe there are 17 chapters, and that game is very good. The music I posted this on Twitter, but the music is incredible, and the gameplay is very tense. It's very stealth oriented gameplay for the most part. The story itself, I think, has some pretty good hooks in terms of you're trying to escape the Inquisition and the Black Plague and all this at the same time. So it's really cool setting, and story is setting up pretty nicely as well. So
Are there
I can
monsters?
no, just mice or rats,
Hmm.
and then humans. It's cool. You should. I think you might actually like it
Mhm.
if it sounds interesting to you. You should check it out. It's pretty cool. Feels good on the DualSense too. So, and then also I re-downloaded Metro Exodus. I felt like I gave up on it too quick, so Colin and Chris were talking about it on their podcast recently, and Chris was talking about how just beautiful it is and everything. And it is beautiful, and so it kind of got me back into the mood of wanting to give it another shot. So I downloaded it and played it for a little bit more, and it is good. I'm not very far into it, so I can't say too much about it, I guess, yet, but it's fun. And then the last thing that I played was a game, which we're going to talk about in a minute too, called Arcadegeddon. And it is a new game that's available in early access currently from Ilphonic, which is the developer that made the Predator Hunting Grounds game that's exclusive to PlayStation. And
Very different already from that.
very, yeah, it's a big departure from that, but it is awesome. I really like it. It's a third person shooter, co-op shooter, and what I would describe it as is kind of like I was describing to you last night. Is it's a mix of like Borderlands and a game called Splatoon, which is a Nintendo game, and Returnal. So like if those three like got together and had a baby, that's kind of what this game is, I think, right now. But it's not nearly as hard as Returnal. It's really not. It's a great game, very fun. Anyway, we'll talk about that more in a second here. So without any more further ado, let's jump into the news this week. Number one, PlayStation finally graced us with a State of Play stream on Thursday, focused on indie and third party titles, much to the chagrin of a large part of the fan base, Travis, who are longing for a big E3 style summer showcase. The show led off with an announcement trailer for Moss Book 2, a sequel to one of the most beloved PSVR titles that is currently in development. And we're not clear yet if that's for PSVR 1 or 2. We also saw Predator Hunting Grounds developer Ilphonic, like I mentioned a minute ago, who revealed their new project, a third-person loot-based cooperative and competitive shooter called Arcadegeddon, which is awesome. And the game is available now in early access on PS5 for $20, with the full game launching sometime in 2022 for the launch price of $30. Norsefell Games shared a new trailer for their Viking action RPG, Tribes of Midgard, which dove into the game's post launch plans, which is centered on free seasonal content called sagas, or sagas, as the girl was saying in the video. The side scrolling action platformer Fist, forged in Shadow Torch, which is from PlayStation's China Hero Project, brought a release date reveal trailer with some new gameplay. Fist launches on PS4 and PS5 on September the 7th. Hunter's Arena Legends showed a gameplay trailer, and the game mixes melee combat fighting with battle royale and 30-player matches in solo or trios. It will launch as a PlayStation Plus game on PS4 and PS5 on August the 3rd. Awesome-looking kung fu beat-em-up game Sifu showed off a new gameplay trailer as well, and also announced that the game has been delayed to early 2022. Jet, The Far Shore gave us a brief dive into the gameplay and systems. Players will explore both in their vehicles and on foot at various landmarks and interest points throughout the game, with a story that unfolds back on your spaceship with your crewmates. The game is on schedule to release sometime later this year. Anime action adventure game Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles, shared a gameplay trailer and was announced to release on PS4 on October the 15th. Lost to Judgment developer Ryu Go Gotoku Studio shared a new trailer setting up the game's story and also showed bits of gameplay and mini games, which players apparently love. Players will attempt to solve 2 murders when the game releases on PS4 and to PS5 on September the 24th. We also got a detailed look at the Death Stranding Director's Cut, which features quite a bit of new content, including new story missions, new melee combat, new weapons and equipment, such as a buddy delivery bot and delivery launch cannon, which looks wild. And it will also include support for 4K and 60 frames per second modes on PS5, as well as haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers. Players who own the game on PS4 can upgrade to the PS5 Digital Deluxe Edition for a mere $10. And finally, the show closed with a 9-minute gameplay walkthrough for upcoming PS5 exclusive Deathloop. And we also learned that the game is a 1-year timed exclusive on PlayStation 5, thanks to some fine print at the end of the trailer. So that's a wrap up of the state of play this week. Anything that jumps out at you?
Well, I'm not gonna touch on Deathloop. I mean, you can if you want to, but
Yeah.
I'm playing it, I'm buying it, moving on. It looks cool. We get it. Did you see that the delivery cannon is also something that delivery launch cannon is something that Amazon is building as well?
No way.
They'll set up about 5 houses down and just blast that motherfucker into the door. And there you go.
Hilarious.
Anyway, so the Hunter's Arena Legends kind of caught my attention. I didn't really expect it to. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Again, it's solos or trios, so we'll probably be stuck with a random if we played it. But it's a PS Plus game. I'm going to give it a go. Why not? And I think I don't know if it has, as you say, I don't know if it has the hooks or the legs, but we can see.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I'm disappointed that Sifu's been delayed.
Yeah.
I was excited about it. I'm still excited about it. The gameplay trailer looked really cool.
That's so dope looking.
Like there's no denying that it looks awesome. I don't see how you could not think that it looks awesome. But
Yeah.
like they tweeted out though, like, hey, for it to be at the place we want it to be at, we're gonna have to delay it. Which, I'm glad that they're being honest about it. And there's, again, I'm sure this is part of the cyberpunk fallout, but they're holding themselves to a standard. I think that again, I would hate for a game to look this cool and suck. So I'm glad that they're at least delaying it to fix whatever they think needs to be fixed. As far as Arcadegeddon, I downloaded it just now. I bought.
Oh, you did. This is news. Breaking news here on the pod.
Breaking news. And to make sure I got the right one, I downloaded Nacon Arcade Stadium. Right, that's what it is.
No. Don't you dare.
Anyway, so it's downloading to my console as we speak, so we can play that later.
Nice. It's only a 5 gigger, so.
Okay, so I guess I'll a 5 gigger. Sounds like a fishing term. Like anyway, so
we're not hosting an intergalactic kegger down here.
So the only again, these are these indie games, so I was excited for Sifu. It checked that box. The Deathloop thing really just solidified what I thought about it. The
Mhm.
only other thing that I had a little bit of interest in was this Viking action RPG,
Yeah.
and
Looks
that's
really cool.
yeah, that's just because I like Vikings, so,
Yeah.
it's just fun to play as a Viking. I mean, just like the same reason that I think the, uh, the pirate game that we're never gonna get looked really cool before they restarted it all. It's just fun to be a pirate. But,
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I mean, it's part of the reason I like Return of the Upper Dim was because, like, in a sense, you're a pirate, kind of,
Mm.
but anyway. I mean, I'm not disappointed with it. It's exactly what I expected,
Yeah, that's a good I'll touch on that as well as in terms of, like, the overall mood, I guess, of the show, but the things that stood out to me were obviously Arcade-ageddon. I downloaded it and I've been playing. I played quite a bit. Well, I mean, for for me, I played quite a bit. I've played probably 4 hours or so far, and that game, that, like, kind of like in the way that I was evangelizing Chivalry 2, like,
Mhm.
this is the next game that I'm going to evangelize on the show here is Arcade-ageddon because and I didn't wanna get into it too much a minute ago because I wanted to save some of it for here, but that game is awesome. It really scratches an itch that it reminds me of something that I've played before, but I can't really put my finger on it, but
Mm.
the third person combat is a lot of fun, and then it feels really good on the DualSense because it has the haptics and the trigger, and then the variety of weapons that are in the game. You
Mhm.
know, you probably heard me talking last night. I kept coming across shit that I
Also,
hadn't
yeah,
seen before.
all kinds of shit.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that I didn't realize until last night because I got to where it kind of unfolds over stages. So you beat a stage, you go to another stage, and it's kind of like a new map or new biome, whatever. So I got to stage 5 last night. That's kind of where the roguelike returnal-ish side of it comes in at.
Mhm.
And I got to a map or a biome that I had never seen before. So it was like an island setting or whatever. So that's cool too. And man, I just can't say enough good things about it. And the roadmap that they've already put out for what they're going to add this summer and fall and winter, then it launches, sounds like early next year in full. And they're going to add a lot of stuff along the way. So it's really, I mean, for $20, in my opinion, I've played a lot worse. So anyway, some of the other things that interested me were the Tribes of Midgard game, like you said. That's also a $20 game,
Mhm.
which is interesting. So that game does look cool to me, but that is a co-op game. I don't know if it has matchmaking or not, but anyway, you gotta have friends to play that, so we'll see about that one. And then I actually think Fist Forged in Shadow Torch looks pretty cool. I'm gonna wait and
Mhm.
see what it gets reviewed, but that game kind of looks awesome to me as well. And
Yeah,
then
well, you would support communist China.
you're right. And then Hunter's Arena Legends, I mean, like you said, it's going to be a free PlayStation Plus game, so there's no reason not to try it. But I literally have like no opinion of the game. Like I don't know if it's for me or not. I can tell you that if it wasn't free, I wouldn't be playing it. So
I would agree with that, yeah.
it's probably a smart thing for them to do if it's a multiplayer battle royale style game. So we'll check that out when it launches and see if it's any good. And Sifu, of course, like we said, looks awesome. Can't wait for that. It's like John Wick without guns.
Meets Ghost of Tsushima.
Meets Ghost of yeah, meets Ghost of Tsushima. Meets like I don't know the raid or some shit. I don't know. It's awesome. So let's see anything else here. The director's cut stuff on Death Stranding all looked really awesome to me, but for me, like it's the same deal with Ghost of Tsushima. I had the physical copy on PS4, so I'm not going to pay $70 to have the full game again. I'm just not going to. So power to those of you that are going to do it. And then, like you said, Deathloop. I don't have much else to say. They really didn't need to show that game, and they better not show it anymore because they've shown enough. Probably too much of it at this point, in my opinion. And I've already pre-ordered the game. Gonna buy it. Looks awesome.
Yeah,
Excited
we're good
for
to
it.
go.
Yeah, we're good. By the way, if you pre-order that before launch, you get 10% off, so you can get it for like $53. Number two, Ubisoft is making a massive change to the Assassin's Creed universe, as Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reported this week that the publisher is making the franchise an online live service platform called Assassin's Creed Infinity. It will launch no sooner than 2024 and will feature multiple settings and time periods from the games, with more being added after release. All titles within the service will be connected somehow and is inspired by online service titles like Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto Online. Schreier also reported that development teams Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Quebec are being merged to create one team with the different creative directors working on the ongoing title. And finally, Schreier stated on Twitter that there is no other Assassin's Creed title launching between now and Infinity, and that the project has led to several staff members who don't agree with the direction of the franchise to depart Ubisoft over the past weeks. What do you think?
Well, last sentence, not surprising. People always leave when you change the format. I have to say, it's probably a good thing that they're not releasing another title before this. I think that they could have done that anyway, just taken a break from the franchise. It's a little saturated, and every year we're getting something from one of these two. One of these two Ubisoft groups. It's ridiculous, but
Yeah.
I read an article that Montreal and Quebec kind of are rivals. They don't really
Mm-hmm.
get along very well. So to combine them both and say that they're gonna have multiple creative directors, I don't see how that works. Like, you can't have 2 generals. You
Yeah.
So my assumption is one of those groups will be, quote, unquote, "in charge," more or less, or they will bully their way into being in charge, however you wanna look at it, and then people on the other side will start to kinda trickle away, would be my guess, as far as
Mm.
staffing goes, but as we saw earlier in the week, Tony Polanco is over these live service games, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he's super stoked about this, but always I'm a little hesitant with live service games, like, I'm always afraid that we're gonna end up with, like, the Marvels again, like the Avengers, where it's like, it's fun to play, but, like, nobody plays it really. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like, it's not that it's not a good game, like, it is the definition of a good game, like, if you looked up the definition of the word good, that's exactly what it is. Nothing more or less.
Yeah, but it wears itself out.
Right, yeah, it becomes repetitive and, whatever you wanna call it, which is an interesting point I would like to kinda roll into a little bit here is, like, any sports game is repetitive, you know,
True.
FIFA, 2K, Madden, whatever, and nobody really complains about that, but then you get these live service games or even, like, we're doing the same raid over and over again with different equipment, but we're leveled up. It's like, well, what's the difference between, playing Manchester United 5 times in a season? Like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
it's kinda similar in a way. I don't really it's just interesting that, I could sit down and play a FIFA game 4 or 5 times, but if you wanna put me on the same
Yeah.
rate again, I get bored with it. Like, I don't understand that. It's kinda like how, like, you can listen to the same song over and over again, but if you hear a joke more than, like, twice, it gets less funny.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's odd. I don't know what to make of that.
I think the difference is you make a good point, but I think the difference is that when in a sports game, you have these dynamic things happening. So
Or, like,
like
dynamic moments.
yeah, so like you might throw a 90-yard Hail Mary touchdown to win the game. Like yeah, you're still playing a football game, but it's going to be different every time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess a raid could be too, but like
But they're
I
always
guess
at the same point, like, you open this door, there's a guy.
yeah, yeah. You get to this checkpoint and you know you have to do this puzzle, and then you get to the next one, you know you have to fight this mini boss, whatever, you know how to kill him, so on and so forth. Like so yeah, there's that. My problem with these Assassin's Creed games now, and I should have shared this yesterday, but there's a Twitter account called How Long to Beat, and they just compile data on how long it takes to beat games,
Oh, that's cool.
and they put together a spreadsheet or like a graph, a bar graph of how long each of the Assassin's Creed take to beat the main story, and then a completionist playthrough.
Mhm.
So the first Assassin's Creed they said took like 13 or 14 hours to beat the main story. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the most recent one, they said was 54 or 55 hours to
I'm
beat the
not doing
main
that.
story. Like I had to quit playing it. Like it's a cool game. It's a really good looking game, but like man, the last two games, that one and Odyssey, have they just overstayed their welcome.
I don't
Way, I
think
mean,
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I don't think those are the types of games that you wanna put 50 hours into, like, that's a
no.
Witcher, Skyrim type game.
Yeah, exactly. I
There's
mean,
not enough there.
that's what they're going for. I mean, I get that, but like even The Witcher, one of my favorite games ever, The Witcher 3. I played it for like 300 hours probably, maybe 2 or 300 hours, and I still never completed everything in the game. I mean, there were quests that I didn't do, there were things I didn't find, whatever, like you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I don't know, but the thing about the difference between a game like The Witcher 3 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, in my opinion, is that the quest design and the world building in The Witcher 3 is what makes everything feel so different. So
Mhm.
it wasn't like I was just running to X to do Y, but just in a different place on the map. So anyway, that's the problem that I think these Assassin's Creed games have. Does
Mhm.
making it an online live service game fix that? I don't know. I I don't think this
I don't think so.
fix I don't think this fixes the problem of what most people feel like needs to be done, which is the games need to be have more brevity. Like they need to be shorter, they need to be more focused, so on and so forth. And
Mhm.
I don't know what they're trying to do with this. Maybe it will fix it. Maybe it'll be a big success. I have no idea, but I just can't imagine Assassin's Creed as a live service game. But I don't know. I mean, Ubisoft games typically speak to me. Now, whether they stick once I
That's
get there
another
is a
thing.
different thing, but we'll see, I guess.
Right, but it's like to your point though, like even Red Dead, I don't even know how many hours we played Red Dead, but
Yeah.
if it was built out like the last two Assassin's Creeds, it's not a 10. It's just
Yeah.
not. Like I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. Like Ghost of Tsushima is the perfect length. Like if you
Mhm.
take that story and make it any longer, it starts to get very mundane, I think.
Yeah, I stand by that. We need games that are take 15 to 20 hours to beat. Like that's the sweet spot. And I saw someone yesterday on Twitter said if it takes me more than a 40-hour work week to do a 100% completionist playthrough of your game, then it's too much.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair point. Like if it takes more than 40 hours to do everything in your game, I mean that's a fair point. Unless you're like a certain genre of game, like a MMORPG or whatever, like I guess a persistent live service game. But if you're a single player RPG, whatever, like you get over 40 or 50 hours for a completionist playthrough, in my opinion, you're doing a little too much. I think I and this is the last thing before we move on here. Though one of the things that I think that game developers, I mean, surely they look at this stuff, right? But one of the things I think game developers miss is that gamers are getting older, right? Like me
Mhm.
and you and the people that are in our generation grew up playing video games, I would say are the majority of gamers, like 28 to 35 years old.
Mhm.
I would say those are the majority of people who game every day or multiple times a week, whatever. Now, the people in our generation have full time jobs, they have families, they have kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
we have less time to devote to our hobby. So
Mhm.
I just feel like maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe they look at this data. I'm sure they do their demographics and heat mapping and all that. But like, I just feel like they're kind of missing that point, but missing that aspect of it. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Probably is. Number three, French publisher Nacon held their annual Nacon Connect event today, featuring a number of game announcements and updates. First off, we saw a licensed RoboCop game called RoboCop Rogue City. It's a first-person shooter based on the original trilogy of movies from the Terminator Resistance team, and it will come to consoles sometime in 2023. I love this. A new third-person Clash game called Clash Artifacts of Chaos was announced and will come to PS4 and PS5 in June 2022. A video interview with Gollum producer Harold Reigler showed off new gameplay, and the game is scheduled to release sometime in 2022. World War One survival horror game Ad Infinitum from a new German studio called Hecate received a trailer, and the game puts you in the role of a soldier fighting for his life and sanity and will include stealth and puzzle elements. It is scheduled to release sometime in 2023. Alternate history French Revolution action RPG Still Rising from Greedfall developer Spiders shared a gameplay reveal trailer and it is scheduled to release sometime in June of 2022. Brutal fantasy American football game based on the Warhammer universe, Blood Bowl 3 was announced and got a campaign mode trailer. Roguebook announced a free update called Gem Mine that will add new maps, new enemies, and new loot. Rogue Lords, a new roguelike game in which you play the devil, controlling minions like Frankenstein and Dracula, was announced for a console release in early 2022. Open world racing game Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown announced it is based in Hong Kong and will release on September 22nd of next year. Rugby 2022 is announced and is scheduled for release on January 22nd. Nacon's Life series of simulation games showed off some new gameplay for Chef Life, Hotel Life, and Train Life, and new titles Surgeon Life and Architect Life were also announced.
Are you okay?
Whew. Skateboarding simulator Session was announced to be coming to PS4 and PS5 at some point in the future. A new gameplay trailer for Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song was shown, and the game was announced to release in February of 2022. Motorbike racing sim Rims Racing was announced to launch on August 19th on PS4 and PS5. And WRC 10 was announced and will celebrate the 50th year anniversary of the FIA World Rally Championship. So that's a lot here that Nacon announced. What do you think?
It's funny that Nacon has all this stuff that you forget that it's Nacon, or at least I do.
Yeah, I forget they exist, but yeah.
So just I'll go in reverse. So
Okay.
WRC 10, they make really good rally games, and especially now that Codemasters is owned by EA, they might actually be the best rally game moving forward.
Mm.
So what will interest me about this 50-year anniversary game is, like, does it bring in extra content? Do we get to see some old cars? Do we get to see some Group B rally cars, which are terrifying to drive on other sims? What kind of expansion do they do on? They have a really nice career mode on WRC 9. So depending on what they kind of add for this 50th anniversary, that game is something that's kind of on my radar. Vampire the Masquerade, there's something about this game
Mm.
for me that I'm not necessarily saying I'll play it, but there's something about it when I read it that makes me think it's going to be good. I don't know what it is. Uh, the little things I've seen, there's just
Hmm.
something about it that reminds me of, like, I don't know. I keep picturing Resident Evil, but I know that's not really fair. But if there's something about it that's like, I just feel like it's gonna have a cult following, I guess, is what I'm getting at. There's something there. I think there's something there.
I could see that.
Test Drive Unlimited, which we talked. I'm not sure if we talked about this offline or online. I know I definitely sent you the first thing I saw about it,
Yeah,
but
I'm interested.
they haven't had a test drive in like a decade. And
Yeah.
I got to say, putting it in Hong Kong is a huge mistake because with all the protests, you can't drive anywhere. I don't know what you're supposed to do unless they were
Yeah.
like maybe we drive into the crowd. I feel like that's a felony.
It's Grand Theft Auto now.
So we'll see how that goes. Rogue Lords looked intriguing just because you get to play as the devil, which your mom will hate. I'm pretty sure that me and you have watched and made fun of Blood Bowl before.
Yeah, it's outrageous. It's so Blood Bowl 2 is on PlayStation now, and I've always wanted to try because they keep making these games. I've
Right.
always wanted to try it and see what it's about. It's like a turn-based football, like
It's so
NFL
weird.
Blitz style game. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's odd, but like I said, it's if it was a free game, I'd definitely try it. If it was like a plus game, I'd give it a throw at the board.
Hmm.
Lots of people are excited about RoboCop.
Oh yeah.
Again, it's 2023. I'm going to forget about it, so I'm not worried about it. And that being said, the World War I survival game, which is also 2023,
Hmm.
I might play that. That might be a survival horror game I get into.
Hmm.
The reveal trailer, I guess you'd call it, is like nothing happens, and then this like skeletally arms pull the guy back in,
Yeah.
and it didn't really creep me out a whole lot because, like, if you think about it, like that's kind of what they were doing anyway, like with the gas and with random shells. Like you'd think you were out of it, all of a sudden you got blown up or were gassed or shot or something like that. So, in a
Hmm.
sense, it seems pretty realistic. Like the role of a soldier fighting for his life and sanity, that's pretty par for the course.
Right.
Right, but out of all of that, the thing I'm the most excited about is Steel Rising. I've been the most excited about
Mm.
that since the very first time we heard about it. I think it could be really cool. The French Revolution, I just like that time period anyway,
Yeah.
and all the stuff, all like, just the gameplay looked like it'd be kind of fun.
So I'll start from the top. You started from the bottom. I'll start from the top. So RoboCop, if they can pull this off, I'm all in. I'm there. I'm there for it. I love RoboCop. I didn't play the Terminator Resistance game. It's got really mixed reviews. It also got a PS5 update. I've seen gameplay on it. It looks pretty basic to me, but if
Mhm.
they can, they've got a couple years here. Obviously, hopefully they're
And
going
it's
to
a
get
Rogue
better.
City, so you never know.
Right. Hopefully they're going to get better at making games. So Robo, I mean,
Oh, you just tweet that at them, please.
hopefully, you guys are going to get better at making games. RoboCop, I hope they can pull it off. If they can pull it off, I'm interested, but we'll see. Let's see here. What else? The World War One game, I immediately thought of you. I don't know if you can do it though. We'll see. We'll see in a couple years.
Oh, it'll be a funny stream.
Yeah, it would be. Still Rising. I'm gonna keep my eye on this one. I've had this one on my list for a little while now to just monitor. This is obviously the first time we saw a gameplay of it.
Mhm.
It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, but I'm
That's fair, yeah.
yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm gonna wait. That's a game that I'll wait and see what it gets reviewed. Of course, it's a year away anyway, so like you said, I'll forget about it. But next year's gonna be stacked, dude. There's gonna be so
Mhm.
much going on. A lot of stuff's gonna get buried.
Yeah, it'd be such a good problem to have.
Yeah. Let's see what else here. And then I am interested in Test Drive Unlimited. That game, of course, it was just a cinematic trailer, but I gotta tell you, I've been really in the mood to play a racing game lately. Like
Mhm.
really in the mood. But Dirt 5 is not really doing it for me because Dirt 5 is really samey to me, if that makes sense. Like
Oh, yeah, I agree.
I thought about downloading the Crew 2 again, but then I
Mhm.
read that it's only 30 frames per second.
It's hard.
I can't do that.
I will say Test Drive feels like it'll have some crew elements.
Yeah, it did. It's like an open world type of thing. It looked like, and so that's exciting. But I've been really in the mood for a racing game, like an open world style racing game. But we'll see. That's pretty much it for me. That the Test Drive was the last one that really kind of caught my eye. But I couldn't believe, like you said, I couldn't believe how much these guys publish. Like this is, I mean, this is 15 things that they've got coming. Like this, they got a lot more than I thought. So good for them. Number 4, we also have a lot of news nuggets here, Travis, and feel free to join me wherever you see fit. First nugget here, website comicbook.com reported that PlayStation wasn't the only company who attempted to purchase Housemarque, with co-founder Ilari Kutinen saying the quote-unquote usual suspects from China, Sweden, and the US all made overtures.
So that would
So
be
that would be Tencent,
yep.
that would be Embracer Group,
100%.
and that would be, I guess, Microsoft.
Mhm. That'd be my guess, yeah.
Even though PlayStation is technically based in California, so I don't know. That one's the only ambiguous one. But I got to tell you, Housemarque definitely made the right decision if they had to choose between Tencent, Embracer Group, and
Well,
PlayStation.
I
So
feel like they're too big for Embracer Group. Embracer Group gets these random things that, like, I've never heard of, I feel like.
yeah. Next nugget, website Push Square reported that Battlefield 2042 will indeed be remastering classic maps and bringing them to the rumored Battlefield Hub mode. The new mode is being developed by DICE LA, which has been restructured and rebranded as Ripple Effect Studios. And Ripple Effect will also continue working on their own original unannounced game. Sounds really cool. So Tom Henderson apparently leaked some of the maps that are getting remastered.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen that or not,
I did
but
not. What are they?
Metro is one of them.
Oh, I love Metro. I don't know why they rebranded to Ripple Effect. I don't know that that was needed. Dice LA was fine.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it does sound cool, but okay. So, according to Tom Henderson, the following maps will be coming to Battle Hub: Metro, Locker, Wake Island, Siege of Shanghai, Erica Harbor, and Caspian Border.
I don't remember the second one, whatever you said.
I don't remember Locker either. I remember Metro, and I remember the rest of them vaguely, but
Yeah,
I think I think
vaguely.
I think Siege of Shanghai was a really cool one with all the skyscrapers where you
Is
could
it right?
ride the elevators up,
The
maybe.
one fell.
Yeah, yeah, yes. So we'll see. It sounds awesome. Also, FIFA 22 will feature Kylian Mbappe on the cover again this year and is rumored to launch on October the 1st. A revealed trailer is scheduled to release on Sunday, July the 11th, so probably by the time that you're listening to the show. Fall Guys will be getting PlayStation character outfits when Season 5 drops, including Astrobot, Sackboy, Ratchet, Clank, Kana from Kana Bridge of Spirits, and the Spelunky guy.
It sounds really weird when you split up Ratchet and Clank without the word "and."
It does, doesn't it? I had a hard time typing that. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 will likely carry over gameplay elements from the recent Yuffie DLC, according to co-director Naoki Hamaguchi. A new rumor suggests that PES 2022 will be a full-blown free-to-play title, Travis, in an effort to shake things up with the franchise.
That's interesting.
It is. I don't know how you pull that off.
I don't either. I don't know, especially with
Buy
the
your team, I
licensing.
guess. Yeah. I'm guessing that you like buy your team. Like, I don't know. Like, you want to be Manchester United. I don't know.
That
Maybe
sounds
not.
terrible.
It does. Japan Studio has officially been removed from Sony's website, RIP. Sonic Colors Ultimate will feature 4K at 60 frames per second in a new mode called Rival Rush. Sony released a new PS5 firmware this week that seems to improve system stability, and I can confirm that it does indeed. For once in my life, I have noticed an improved system performance. For instance, my PlayStation lately has not, the past few days, has not randomly shut off during rest mode. It also, again, will allow me to download games from rest mode from the PlayStation app on my phone, which it wasn't allowing me to do. So seemed to have fixed that. Also, Polyphony Digital added the Toyota GR86 to Gran Turismo Sport. Travis, does that interest you?
No, first of all, this is about the 10th version of the Toyota GR86 we've gotten. You could, I don't know, you could give us anything. You give us a classic Le Mans car. You could give us a F1 updated car. Fuck, you could give us a rally car. I don't even like the fucking rally maps, but that'd be fine. Quit giving me Toyotas. I know you're in Japan and that's the easiest thing to do, but I don't care. This is like a direct reflection of the fact that they're just working on the new game and they don't care. Not that they don't care, but like I think they're just busy and they're like, oh, here's a car, get fucking shove it on there. We'll drive 10
Yeah.
miles down to the Toyota plant and scan it. Like, I don't know. Those guys have just, that game is 4 or 5 years old and it's kind of at its dead point for me. Like, there's just not a lot for me to do on it anymore.
Yeah, I get it. They're just throwing you guys a bone. Rockstar Games announced that they will be cycling out older content in Grand Theft Auto Online to make room for new content updates, very similar to how Destiny 2 cycles their content, or vaults it, as they say. Real Farm Premium Edition, a next-gen port of the original game, will release on PS5 on September the 30th, ahead of Farming Simulator 22.
Big rivals there, so we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. And Sony released an advertisement this week that featured the disc version of the PS5 upside down in an entertainment center, and the ad was promptly pulled from circulation.
Classic.
How does that happen?
Sounds like Americans. I don't think the Japanese would make that mistake.
You just can't trust the marketing people. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that a Sony insider claims that the acquisition of Bluepoint Games is set to be announced at a PlayStation showcase in the future. The CEO and CFO of Codemasters are both resigning from the company at the end of July after being acquired by Electronic Arts for over $1 billion in February. That didn't take long, huh?
No, so here's the thing. So when I saw this, my surprise meter went off a little bit, which if you can be surprised by your surprise meter going off, I definitely was. I felt like part of me was like, this isn't surprising at all, and then the other part of me was like, wow, that's fast. But they've clearly decided to stay on through the end of F1 21. Like basically, once it's went gold, which it has, they basically announced, hey, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And the end of July gives them a chance to do like one update really to work on. So my presumption is one of two things. Either, and I think the answer is pretty obvious, is that EA wants to push the game in a certain direction and these two guys don't want to be a part of that. They don't agree with it. So
Yeah.
that's interesting to me. I think next year will be a completely different F1 game. I mean, the story mode that they've added this year is similar to what we see in FIFA and Madden. I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing for F1. Like I don't play the one on FIFA. It just doesn't interest me. But the scenarios I've seen in the first two chapters for this version called Breaking Point, it actually looks pretty interesting. The scenarios they put you in are relatively realistic. You know, again, the corny dialogue is going to be there and all that fun stuff that you get with these types of things. But I think that this is interesting. I don't know what F1's going to turn into, but you know, Codemasters is not Codemasters anymore. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, to me, it's either what you said, it's either they don't agree with the direction that they're going moving forward, or the only other option in my mind is these guys are now millionaires many, many, many times over
Yes, yeah.
from being bought out by EA, and they're like, all right, we're
Cool.
good. We're out of here. They like, thanks, you got good luck to you guys. I'm going to retire now. So,
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, if they're upset and they wanna go do their own thing, 'cause they have so much money now, they could do their own thing. They could fund their own thing. It's like,
yeah.
if you're moving on from F1 and these rally games and whatever else, like, the licensing and the access you have, like, you're working with, like, Ferrari and whoever else, and you're doing all these rally Subaru games, and you get to go to these really cool historic tracks and meet all these people and, like, the access you have, and then you're gonna make something else that's gonna have none of that, like,
Mm,
I understand that the company might be doing some stuff you don't wanna do, but the appeal and the excitement of anything, like, for me, of anything I'd be doing after that wouldn't be there, like,
right.
yeah, I'm rubbing elbows with these guys that are like F1 is the most popular racing league in the world,
Right.
and then now I'm gonna go make, like, a top-down rally game. Like, like it's just not there.
You're right. No, I get that too. That makes sense. Next nugget, Atari announced that its Atari gaming label will now focus on premium games on consoles and PC in the future, and it plans to sell off its casino business and also its free-to-play franchises.
Hmm.
Genshin Impact is getting cross-save support between PlayStation, PC, mobile, and Switch in a future update. Ubisoft Montpellier is hiring for Beyond Good and Evil 2 in an unannounced game according to recent job listings. 2 unannounced games from developer Bloober Team have been discovered, codenamed Black and Doom Spiro. They confirmed later in the week that they are indeed working on 2 projects, but denied that they are working on a Silent Hill game. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War will get a free update featuring the Mauer der Toten map for Zombies mode this week. Microids and Forever Entertainment have acquired the licensing rights to publish physical editions of two dormant Sega IPs, or Sega, the House of the Dead franchise and the Panzer Dragoon franchise. Apex Legends is getting a new event called Thrill Seekers, which will add a new Overflow Arena map, 3 weeks of rewards, and new cosmetics. And likewise, Red Dead Online is getting a big update on July 13th, Travis, called Blood Money. The update will add a new type of work called Crimes. Imagine that in an outlaw game. And a currency called Capital, which unlocks new opportunity missions. Crime missions range from simple holdups to kidnappings and multi-stage robberies. Outlaw passes have been revamped as well and are now called Quick Draw Club passes, the first of which will unlock Dutch's outfit upon purchase.
Okay, first of all, fuck you if you think I'm dressing like Dutch, that asshole. Not happening. 100% not happening.
Uh-huh.
I'm on board though. Let's do this. This will be fun.
Yeah, I agree. Multi-stage robberies, I'm in. Website PlayStation Universe reported that the alpha for Call of Duty 2021 is codenamed Slipstream and should be forthcoming very soon.
Are they going to tell us anything about this?
So my theory on this, I think I maybe told you, but my theory on this is that Call of Duty wants to announce or reveal their game this year in August at a PlayStation event because they have a marketing deal. I think they want to have this is just a theory. I think they want to have a reveal trailer at a PlayStation showcase, and then a couple weeks later, I think they want to do like their own full blowout, like multiplayer gameplay, whatever. So that's just my theory, and I think that there's also rumors that this one's not shaping up very well. So I think they're needing more time to work on it.
I mean, we've already seen stuff from Battlefield and heard so much. It's like if you're in a sprint race and you just let Usain Bolt get a 50-meter head start, and then you're like, I'll catch him by the 200-meter mark. It's like, I doubt it.
Right?
You should run quickly now.
I agree. I'm not going to get it either way because it's rumored to be World War II, and I'm not in the mood for that. Also, developer Bungie will hold a Destiny 2 showcase on August 24th. Sony Music Entertainment and Roblox have signed a partnership for, quote, innovative music experiences for the Roblox community that offer a range of new commercial opportunities for Sony music artists to reach new audiences and generate new revenue streams around virtual entertainment, end quote. I think this is setting up for the game to come to PlayStation platforms, is my guess.
So we get like a Roblox DJ hero?
Yeah, I think it's just going to become, they're trying to become like Fortnite where they have like Travis Scott do shows in Roblox and shit.
Oh, that's cool. I guess Stacey Dash doesn't have a clue while we're doing Roblox.
The virtual reality version of horror game at Blair Witch will come to PSVR sometime this summer.
I gotta be honest, the legs Blair Witch it's fast. It's 1999 when the movie came out. It's been 22 years and they're still making how did this thing have legs?
I know. I hear you. Also, Genshin Impact version 2.0 will release on July 21st, featuring cross-save support, a new city and area to explore, new main and side quests, and 3 new playable characters. Bokeh Game Studios, the developer comprised largely of former Sony Japan studio staff, if you'll remember, Travis, revealed that their new game is aiming to attract Silent Hill and Siren fans. So this is very interesting to me, just for a second here. So I had totally forgot about these guys. This is that new studio that was made up of all the guys who left Japan studio when Sony, told them they were going to close it down. if you remember, like we were talking about last week, where Konami said they're working with a prominent developer in Japan on a Silent Hill game, and then
Well, there
these
you go.
guys come out and say that they're aiming to attract Silent Hill and Siren fans. So my Kojima theory may be totally off base. It might be these guys now,
Mhm.
is my new theory.
Right in front of you the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see, but that's my new theory. Also, all previous Frostpunk expansions will be making their way to the PS4 version on July 21st, including the Rifts, The Last Autumn, and On the Edge. An alpha file for Battlefield 2042 was discovered by PlayStation Game Size this week in the PlayStation Network database, and it clocks in at around 46 gigabytes. So my theory on this one is that we're going to get an August alpha, September beta, and October launch.
Mm-hmm.
Website Gamatsu reported that publisher Blowfish Studios announced science fiction hack and slash action platformer Blackwind for PS4 and PS5. It will launch in Q4 of this year. Atmospheric adventure game Omno will launch on PS4 on July 29th. Among Us Collector's Editions were announced for PS4 and PS5 and will release later this year at retail. Hand-drawn RPG adventure game Tales of Iron will launch on PS4 and PS5 on September 17th, and that's the game, Travis, that features The Witcher's Doug Cockle as the narrator.
Good old Doug Cockle.
Also, 2D twin-stick action game Trigger Witch will release on PS4 on July 28th. Ni no Kuni developer Level 5 is hiring staff to work on a brand new RPG. The King of Fighters 15 will launch on PS4 and PS5 in the first quarter of next year. 3D platformer Pile Up, Box by Box, will release on PS4 on August 17th. Plane Drift Racer, Skydrift Infinity, will come to PS4 on July 29th. Sodesco will publish point-and-click psychological horror game Saint Kotar for consoles sometime later this year. Turn-based roguelike game Crown Trick will come to PS4 on August 31st. Action-adventure platformer Bluefire will come to PS4 on July 23rd. Monster collecting battle game Nexomon will come to PS4 and PS5 at some point in the future. How many Pokemon ripoffs can we
I'll
have?
say that's Pokemon.
Yeah, it's Pokemon, bruh. Axis Games will host a showcase on August 6th called All Axis. It's very clever. Featuring new game announcements, updates on previously announced games, and special guests. And finally, Gamatsu reported that 3D Realms will host Realms Deep 2021 from August 13th to August 15th, featuring, quote, the latest from over 100 old school shooters, newer shooters, and everything in between, end quote. And that is all for the news this week. I'll kick it over to Travis for this week's new game releases.
On the 6th, we have A Plague Tale Innocence, which I'll probably give it a go. Following that, we have Enderlily's Quietus of the Nights.
Mm-hmm.
Quietus of the Nights. That sounds like a name that would have been in Blazing Saddles. The Silver Case 2425. Dogs Legion Bloodline on the PS4. On the 7th, we have Blitzbreaker, Indigo 7 Quest for Love, The Procession to Calvary. Not Calgary, guys. Calvary. On July the 8th, we have Crash Drive 3, Mega Mall Story. Does it say mail or mall? I'm too far away.
Yeah, mall.
Following that, we have Metro Simulator, Monster Harvest, Sniper Elite VR, which will be dope if it's on VR too, and I'll buy it. Come on, guys.
Agreed.
Or at least make it backwards compatible. Also, we have the Mango Works, Venture Towns, and the previously vaunted Arcade-Ageddon.
Get it, guys. Try it. Do it. If you like third-person shooters. That's all for the new games this week. Now let's begin to wrap things up here, Travis, by discussing what we are going to be playing the week ahead. It's on your radar.
Well, plan on murdering a bunch of people with a mace. That's a lot of fun. Slowly working towards my 1,000 arrows and slowly working on our map wins. To be honest with you, I don't even remember when we win or lose battles unless it's like completely egregious. Like the game just ends. I'm like, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like Call of Duty, we lose. I'm like, fuck this. This is retarded, you know, but I don't even pay attention. I guess I'm having so much fun. I don't even care.
Yeah. I agree.
I just downloaded Arcade again, so give that a go, see what that's about.
I hope that you'll like it. I think that you will.
And then we got, of course, I guess we'll play some Red Dead next week and do these heists, which we've been waiting for forever. I feel like I feel like 2 years ago, somebody found a room that walked into a bank, and they were like, "Oh, they're gonna add heists one day or bank robberies," and we finally are here 10 years
Uh-huh.
later. So that'll be fun. I enjoy those. Is that maybe we can get John to do that with us? Is that asking a lot?
I don't know. That's a good point. We should ask him. I'll text him after this.
So yeah, we don't no tutorial, so we're good.
Same with Arcadegeddon. He didn't respond to that. So,
No, he's out, I guess. And then of course the new F1 game comes out on the 13th. So I don't know if I'll buy that immediately or if I'll wait. I can't decide. I have a feeling that it'll get about an 8 would be my guess.
so you'll have to. My understanding is that you'll have, from watching the trailer, came across this. You'll have to buy the deluxe edition to get it on the 13th. If you get the standard, it's the 16th, which is Friday. Is that Friday?
Oh yeah. Well then if that's the case, I won't get it until Friday because there's no way I'm gonna pay extra for that.
You don't want your 18,000 Bitcoin or Pit coins or
Yeah,
whatever.
what do you do with those? I don't even know what you do with those.
You got to give your guy like a pink jumpsuit.
Mm. I mean, I'm interested in the career mode like I always am, but the breaking point sounds fun. I want to see what that's about. See
Yeah.
the ridiculous characters. I did find out though, if you lose the first race, spoiler, if you lose the first race, it makes you restart it. So
You can't lose.
you can't lose the first race. You better win.
Ain't first, you last.
But yeah, it looks cool, and yeah, they haven't said a whole lot about the co-op yet, so I'm interested to see,
Hmm.
at least when that comes out a few weeks later, I'm sure we'll get some reviews on the co-op story. So, or this co-op game mode, it should say. It's not really a story, but I'm
Yeah.
interested in those things. So that's probably what I'll play this week.
So here's the question: if I ever get it and we co-op a career or whatever, how mad are you? I mean, can you handle it? Is my question. Like, how mad is it going to make you when I'm dog shit at the game and I'm like, I mean, this is important because this is an investment. I can't do this and have you mad at me when
Oh,
I'm not when I'm not a sim racer.
I don't care if you suck.
it's
So
on. This is on the record, buddy.
no, the cool part is like the way that the teammate thing works is like obviously you'll be on the pad or the dual sense, I'll be on the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
The team itself, the computer will decide when we pit or don't pit. So
Oh,
which will be good because we don't want to double stack, but we'll be able to talk to each other. So I can say like, well, if I pit now, it won't affect you as long as you know we could theoretically pit on the same lap if one of us is there's a 20-second gap, it won't matter.
mm,
As far as like winning and the money you make and all that fun stuff, from my understanding is like we independently develop our cars. We independently decide like, oh, I want to develop the wing or I want to develop the arrow or whatever. Like for your own car, even though we're on the same team, for your own car, you pick what you want specifically. So
gotcha.
like for me, it's more important that the car turns really well and has downforce in the turns because of how I like to drive. For you, it might be maybe you just want more straight line speed so you can make up time that you lose in the turn or whatever. So that's
Okay,
good because we don't have to try to figure out what's in the middle, what's better for us.
gotcha.
But yeah, but you'll have to learn a few things like when to use like there's DRS and then there's extra energy. Extra energy is like your turbo and that generates through your braking. So like as
Okay,
you brake, it'll harvest energy and then that is your quote unquote turbo. So it's like like the mushroom on Mario. And
gotcha.
then DRS, you can only use it if you're within a second of the car in front of you and that basically like gives you 70 more horsepower. But there's only a short area you can use it in.
This is wild.
The energy that you harvest you can use wherever the hell you want, but you got to turn it on and off, and a lot of people will forget that they have it on. So they'll just be like hauling ass through a turn, and then they'll have the energy down, and then the car can't handle it. It's just too much power. So little things like that you'll catch on to, and like
Hmm.
you have to change out your engine throughout the season because it wears down so much. You only have 3 engines, so you have to kind of like space out when you get rid of them or keep them or whatever. And the
Hmm.
engineer will talk you through all that when you play the game. It sounds complicated, but it makes a lot more sense. And of course, the development is really like an RPG tree, so
Okay.
it all makes sense to you.
Okay. We'll see. Well, for me on my end, I am looking forward to playing more Arcade again. Glad I got you on board.
Can I kill you in that game?
Yes,
Sweet.
There are PvP competitions between stages, is my understanding, but I've only been playing solo, so I haven't seen that yet. And then I do want to make some more progress on a Plague Tale Innocence push through that a little bit. And then, of course, like you said, I'm looking forward to Red Dead Online on Tuesday. It has been many months since I played. I logged back in last night for a minute to see
Mm-hmm.
what was going on. There's still some glitches on there that are so weird, like my weapons stayed dirty all the time and whatnot. But anyway, I'm excited about that. And then I'm trying to think of anything else. Probably some Chivalry for sure. That's always a go-to, and that's probably about it this week. But that's a lot to look forward to. So with that, let's get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Also, if you would be kind enough to leave us a review on your podcast service, it always helps and be much appreciated. And finally, if you would share us with a friend or a loved one who you think may enjoy a PlayStation podcast such as this, where they can get all of the week's news and rumors and more in less than 90 minutes every time. We would very much appreciate that and love to have them on board as well. You guys take care. Have a great week. We'll talk at you next time. Bye bye.